Welcome back, everybody, to something about something pizza, something about Burning Wheel. That's what we're doing. We're having a pizza. I mean, playing a role playing game about pizza.
Pie.
Hungry, and I want that pizza. But for now, I will sustain myself on Burning Wheel. So yeah, so the tent, we get the big go to commercial cliffhanger where she's like, well, someone does. And we pan up and we get a nice long establishing shot of the tent. And it is on the inside, it's not adorned. There's not like jewelry, there's not piles of treasure, there's not tapestries. The ground is covered by hides. There are like soft hides laid out on the ground. There's a central pole, and then several like smaller poles. The whole tent is maybe like 600 square feet, and there is at the back a throne, for lack of a better word, made out of antlers that have been like woven together. So it's this like huge antler throne, basically. So up on the back, there's all these like pointy bits, and there are people in the tent. There's maybe like a dozen people in here. One of whom is sitting in that throne, and she's dressed the same as the warrior that you saw before. She's the like grass skirt, but her tattoos, you can't see them because around her neck there are like several like layered necklaces, some of which are just like leather thong and bone. Some are woven grass. She has this kind of like big, like Mr. T-esque, like she's probably wearing like 40 of them around her neck. She has the same, like her hair in two long braids, but her hair is like graying at the temples. She's probably in her like really early 50s, late 40s. And she has just under her ribs on the left-hand side, two really nasty puncture wounds, like scars from two like really bad, like they're still red even though they're like, a decade old. Yeah, big fat puncture holes, one between like one on her ribs and then one a little lower. And yeah, so she's sitting there on her throne. She has a spear, not in hand, but set up in the like antlers above her, so like a cross kind of being held by the throne, crafted of some black wood with a steel tip. And she's being attended by either like servants or subordinates. Someone is holding it's not a jug because it's not clay. It's like a leather skin, and she's got like a bone like goblet in one hand, and so he's like holding the skin for her. There's a couple of other men and women like around. That it seem their primary purpose seems to be serving her. So she says, yeah, when you're like, why don't you just speak our language? And yeah, she says from across the tent, well, some of us do.
Ah, says Bernard, turning around. He's going to walk over and kneel down before this woman who clearly seems to be some kind of sort of savage ruler. And say, lady, I come here with my liege lord, Octavian. We are here to parley with your people.
She looks at you and she's like, don't speak to me, servant.
All
And
right.
she
I hear that, right?
yeah.
I'm like, I let out like a chuckle, like instantly, across the tent, like.
Yeah. So she looks at you and she gestures. She's like, come closer, princeling.
I open my mouth as if I'm about to protest the addressing of me as princeling, but then I close my mouth and walk closer.
Yeah, so you walk closer, and then she's got a fire in the middle of of the tent, and as you get closer, she like looks at you and she kind of nods. She's like, well, you're fine enough to look at, though you're dressed like an insect. Come over here so I can smell you.
I turn back to Bernard and I wink, and then I go forward, and I'm like,
Yeah, she stands up and
course.
she takes a couple of steps closer to you, so she's like right up close, and she literally she reaches out and like goes to put her hand on the back of your neck. You can let me know if you react as she's doing this.
I think I like sort of exhale, or like I gasp for a second, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and
And I sort of freeze and like wait for the impact.
she pulls you in
the
close
contact.
and like puts her face kind of like in the area of your neck and like breathes in, and she's
Pretty
like kind of like squints at you and she's like, you smell like blood. Why?
Well, I mean that it happens from time to time. I think this time we encountered some, what are they called? Oxen.
I think Saba's voice like cuts through from some dark corner of the tent and just says orcs.
Orcs. We, the beastly looking.
Yeah, I think she scoffs. She's like, orcs. If you're going to brag in a way that someone that isn't a child would believe you. And she kind of like pushes you aside, and she says, Andrew, what would be a way that like that humans would refer to elves in like a disdainful fashion? Like there would be a word for elves that is not nice to indicate your like lofty arrogance, your like overlordliness, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I know. I have an idea for their culture particularly. So she says something, and I don't want to make up a word that's like vaguely whatever sounding, but she says to you, Octavian, she's like, why do you bring this thing? She says the word among us. And Bernard, the closest translation, she switches to her native tongue for the thing. The closest translation you make is one with no ancestors, or like ghostless one, and it's an insult for sure. It's like, you don't have any ancestors, so what the fuck are you? You're nothing, right? Why do you bring this nothing among us?
I just like intake my breath sharply, but I'm still prostrating myself because
Sure.
I bow to authority.
Is that an instinct? Always bow to authority?
Probably. Yeah.
Right? Like always kneel to authority or always bow for authority?
Yep.
Yeah. So she asked you, Octavian, like, she means elf, but like, I mean, I guess that's the translation into the common tongue, but like, yeah, why did you bring this elf here? But in their language, it means like, yeah, one with no ancestors. Historyless one. Is this thing your prisoner? Have you brought me a gift?
Oh, is this in their language?
Yeah, no, she's saying this to Octavian in common. Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, sort of. That's Saba, and she travels with me, as all of these people do, as my attendees and servants. And of course, she is at your disposal.
And she looks at you, Saba and Sia, as if to confirm, like, oh, are you really?
Yeah, and I've stepped into the light. Say, Even if your people have no respect for us.
You had a demon in your company. And you still have your mask on, right?
She says that in human.
Yeah. She says in a language you can understand.
Whisper, like, just play along.
I serve no man.
She kind of smiles. She's like, well, we have that in common. And she looks at you, Gretelin, and she says, my hunters that ran ahead, they said you had a demon in your company. You're still like you still have your mask on, right?
She says that in human.
Yeah. She says in a language you can understand.
Yeah, so I step forward and I guess let out like a very low rumble from my mask and just sort of like stand. I plant myself, but in a way that's like slightly threatening, and instead of responding, just let out like a really low sort of growl from my mask.
I like that. I like that. Like Saba and Sia is kind of like looks down her nose at this person, and Octavian is all bluster, and Bernard is bowing, and you're just growling at her.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Do you want to try to intimidate her? Because she's pretty
Yes.
blustery too. Okay, yeah,
Definitely.
cool, yeah. Because this is the thing. Like she can be all like, oh, whatever, you're a dwarf. But if you're like, yeah, but scary dwarf mask,
But I'm
that's
scary.
real. It's a real thing. Like she might be taken aback. So
Yeah.
okay. So how does it? You get a bonus to intimidate, right? The mask.
I think it's specifically like I can force someone to make a steal test.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well let's just you make an intimidate test, and I'll give you 2 extra dice.
Okay.
Do you have intimidation?
Yes.
Wicked. Okay.
Yes, I do.
So the difficulty will be her will, but you have 2 extra dice. So her will is
So like mod 2?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the ob, she's like the leader of her people. Her will's probably pretty high. So let's call it will 5.
Okay. 5.
Is anybody helping?
Oh, whoops.
That's okay. They can still. Oh, because you're wounded. Now,
Yeah.
don't forget, you actually get an extra die. Because the game took away 2 dice, but you always have to add 1. Remember? Because you're injured, but you're only half injured.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Healing
So
is
what's
a
that, you
thing
should
you have to
roll that?
remember. So just roll 1 more die. It won't. You won't be able to succeed.
6.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you don't force. You don't intimidate her. But she recognizes that the attempt is there, and I think she takes like a half step back. We hear the like whisper of her bare feet on the furs, and she looks over at you, Octavian, and she just kind of nods. She's like, I see the purpose of this thing in your company, right? Like she basically just reduces Gretel into, she's not intimidated, but she's like, oh, this is a weapon. This is you. Like you have a dwarf because dwarves are scary, and I don't need to know the story, but like these are your slaves or your servants. Like, cool, you're a human who has a scary dwarf working as a hound for you, and you have this elf for whatever purpose. And then she looks back at Bernard, and says, to you, Octavian, but looking at Bernard kind of shark-like, she's like, well, I can't imagine you've come before me with no gift at all. Am I to take the weak one then? Or perhaps the horse outside? Either one would suit me fine.
Yeah. So, the thing is about that, we are really just trying to
Music. Prince music.
bring you a performance that's, and the thing is, I mean, you know who I am now, so we're trying to greet you so that we may talk about important matters of political significance. So, but perhaps as a gift, my servants might perform for you, as they are quite skilled.
She shakes her head, and her braids kind of like she has little like bells in them, and they make like a sound when she shakes her head, and she laughs, and the laughter and the sound of the bells kind of like mix together, and she's like, no, a song is not a gift. Steel is a gift. Meat is a gift. Slaves. She looks at Bernard pointedly. Those are gifts. Worthy of me.
I'm like, oh, well, I mean, come now. If perhaps you are of a cruder sensibility, then song is not a gift. But have you had a chance to live a more civil existence, perhaps you would see differently. And in fact, that is the matter that I wish to discuss with you in the first place, which is to say, my clan's allegiance with yours and our civility that we might bring.
She's like, so you've come to swear fealty then?
Well, perhaps after a brief performance, you might understand the nature of our clan's significance in this world today.
So she looks at you, Bernard, and she's like, fine, sing.
Okay. Is what Bernard said.
Yeah. Okay.
Your sweat like
Well.
dripping down. Can't possibly go wrong. He straightens up very slowly and like has to knead out a crick in his back from hunched over so long, and pulls out his lute and gulps and starts to sing.
Oh my god.
Kind of
All right.
being-
Well.
all right, so my main my intent is to sing a really awesome song, right?
Well, the really awesome song will come from the number of successes you get.
Okay. My intent, I would definitely want to like make her think that Octavian is and the Clan of Fire is superior to her own.
Yeah.
That is a dangerous claim to make.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, because the terms of your intent here, if you sing a song about how great Octavian is, that's one thing. To be like, Octavian is the best, that's one thing. But if you're like, and he's better than you, that's a totally right, because but
Not gonna work.
I mean, that's a thing. So
I think actually that it would make more sense to just pump up how great he is and that he should be taken seriously. So that on its own.
right.
Mhm.
So you want to
And the-
set
and-
him up for future success.
And the Clan of Fire part as well, but more as maybe we're going for equals. As like maybe you should barter with us.
Yeah. Okay. I like how you scaled that back. You're like,
Yeah.
take us seriously, not
Which
we're
is based
better
on
than you.
Bernard being
Right. So
considering his surroundings and the fact that these people are pretty strong-willed,
I like
mechanically and narratively.
I like that chat really wanted Octavian to have to choose between Bernard and the horse. To be like, well, if you want, just take my librarian. Yeah. So you're gonna sing the first octo or whatever of the Epic of Octavian. Okay. So let's. I guess, what is this song about? Is it like about Octavian specifically? Is it some stuff you just made up on the road about the battle with the orcs? Like, what's the content of this tune?
I think it's about Octavian becoming the leader of the Clan of Fire and leading them to greatness.
Okay, getting up on those metaphors. Okay, and what skill?
Yeah.
What skill are you using?
We're gonna do lute,
Nice.
and I can fork in musical
Oh,
composition.
you sure can.
Can I fork in persuasion?
Yeah. No, you totally can. That's
Okay.
that's totally for real. That's definitely a thing you can do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help with this.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
helping
What
with
skill?
dance.
What skill are you helping with Octavian?
Oh, damn it! I'm not sure.
Do you have like persuasion or?
I don't. No.
Awesome. So you just kind of like stand there, arms folded, looking majestic, while the American flag blows in the background behind you.
Can I?
Do you have conspicuous?
Okay, so I have command. Can I maybe like tell Bernard to sing a song of like great?
I think in this case it's a little bit of a stretch, but helping with command, like, because command is like you're used to giving orders, so your imperious nature, you can kind of just be like, "Yes, I made you sing this song. I'm taking credit for it." Conspicuous would be perfect here, but command, I think, because you told Bernard, you were like, "All right, underling, do the thing."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Sweet.
Okay.
So what's the name of your actual skill, Bernard? It's not
It's musical instruments.
right,
I've
musical.
put it down as lute
Perfect, yeah, 'cause
on
that's
my
what you
character
play.
sheet.
Yeah, I just wanted to check the
I'm helping with dance.
dance.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got 4 modifiers now, I think.
So what's your total pool?
So
What's your-
that means I add 4 and it's mod 4. Is that how that
it's the so what do you have in the skill?
works? 1.
Okay.
P1.
Awesome. I like the 1 in loot. All right. So you've got 1. And then you have help from Octavian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have help from you have forks. How many forks do you have?
I have 2 forks. I'm
2 more
doing
forks, so you just got 4. Gretelin, you wanted to help?
Mhm.
With what?
Dancing.
Do you have the dancing skill?
Mhm.
Excellent. All right, Gretelin's going to do a little dance, a dance of obsequiousness.
Yes.
Okay.
So you got 5 dice. Saba and company, are you helping?
Both my characters have sing, but I'll be goddamned if I'm helping out.
Yes. That's so good. It's like, yeah, you're like waiting for the you're doing a sing along and you're waiting for the one person who like knows how to sing to tune in and they're like, fuck this.
You're listening for the 2 people with magical voices.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Damn.
Cold.
Like we're-
fucking cold.
Darn.
Saba is just glowering at this whole shit show. Just ugh.
I love this about the helping rules in that they're both like a desperate boon when you all work together. You're like, we have to scramble all these dice together. Come on, we can do it. But they're also the hugest fuck you where someone is like, please help me. And you're like, no. You just Rorschach them. All right. So,
All right, so mod 5, I think that was.
yeah, I think you got 5 total. So the ob is the will of the listener. So it's going to be ob 4. If the music is suitable to the mood, add advantage. I don't necessarily think so in this case. But the obstacle kit can be used for link tests or to convey an idea. And you're trying to convey the idea here that the Clan of Fire is on the rise and that they should be taken seriously. And you're going to do that with a killer loot solo.
Make the Fire Clan great again.
Yeah.
So you're going to roll your
So if
skill.
I fail, do I just use really clumsy metaphors?
I think if you fail, you embarrass yourself and Octavian, right? It's
Yeah.
embarrassing that they don't they're gonna laugh at you and your pathetic attempt to prove how cool you are.
Okay. Here we go.
You can do it.
Okay. Oh, I failed.
Oh no! I mean, to be fair, it was a hard roll, but okay.
All right, was that a challenging roll?
No, it was only routine because you had so many extra modifiers.
Oh, right.
It's so much help. But yeah, not so much.
Okay.
All right. So you do your best. You sing your little human heart out. And yeah, and like the servants and the like queen of the Grey Plains clan and stuff, they just laugh at you. They're just like, it's the funniest thing that they've ever heard.
I think I'm like struggling towards the end to keep going because they're laughing so hard.
Right, yeah, they've started to laugh and they're talking over you while you're playing, and like she's not even paying attention. Like she like drinks and like just doesn't. She's not into it and just like laughs, and she shakes her head and says to Octavian, she's like, I think your little songbird is broken. Shakes her head and she's like, I told you, songs, they're worth nothing. Give me this one, and gestures to Bernard.
I'm like, I'm like scratching the back of my head. Like, well, here's the deal. You know, there's a reason we were sent here, and it's not really about all this ceremony and stuff that you're asking of us. It's of more important political matters of state. I'm sure you understand as a leader.
She shakes her head. She's like, no, there is no state. There's only the movement of the herd. We follow them. Where they go, that is our place. These stone fortresses you've been building, this library, and she says it like it's a disgusting word to have in her mouth. It's like, none of this matters. You're wasting your time. The Fire Clan is a lost hope.
Okay. I'm like, look, you know what? You're right. We've been rude as guests, and I apologize for that. However, I am prince of the Fire Clan, and the Fire Clan is willing and on the path to bring greater stability and civility and technology to this land and all the people within it. But if you would like my servant, perhaps we can make a wager.
She smiles like for the first time, and the first time this conversation, you notice she has these like pitch black teeth. Like her teeth and her gums are just like dark black. And yeah, she grins, and you can see her black teeth, and she's like, "Gambling, huh? That's a language I understand." She nods.
My lord, what are you doing?
What do you propose?
I'm like, shut up. Shut up. Well, the Fire Clan is known for, as you've mentioned, such refinements and progressions as libraries. I'm sure most of your people have never even heard such. Of course, you are well informed, but the great utility of such is unknown and unprecedented. So we might have a wager of knowledge, and I volunteer my humble servant Bernard to conduct himself in a test of that knowledge that we have come to know and come to acquire and preserve, that surely your people have yet to experience.
Good old-fashioned nerd off, huh?
I like puff up my chest. This is like the best thing that I've ever heard.
She,
My lord believes in me.
She says we have. She says we listen to the voice of the spirits. The walking crypt tells us all we need to know, and we have listeners among the clan. I have a lore master of my own. So, what do you propose?
What is it that ails your people, whether it be this season or this year?
She kind of scowls, and you can see that she's like a little reticent to admit any kind of weakness. Like she doesn't want to tell you. But you could probably persuade her if you wanted to try.
Yeah,
but she's definitely like, you're like, oh, what's wrong? And she's like, kind of scowls at you, like I don't want to tell you that. I don't trust you.
Yeah. So I would definitely like to try to persuade.
Okay.
No.
All right. So by default, it's Ob 4. Do you have any forks? Can you get help?
So I don't actually have persuade.
So it's Ob 8.
That's a good start.
Congratulations.
Can I help him?
I mean,
I have used my persuade skill already in this.
You can. Yeah, no, you can awkwardly, but the point here is that Octavian's like, let me use my charisma on you, of which I have not so much. Yeah, it'll be...
It's a matter of will.
It is a matter of will, but will applied. So yeah, obstacle 8, persuasion test.
God.
You can definitely help Bernard if you want
Yeah.
to. And help with
So
persuade.
when I don't have something, the base is like 0, right?
You're rolling the thing that it's based on.
What is it based on?
So
Will.
persuasion is based on will. Yeah, so you're gonna roll your will.
Excellent. That's good news.
Yeah, so you have 7 dice because you have help from Bernard. Are either of the elves or?
Come on, someone else.
Yo, no, I'm not tying myself to this sinking ship.
I don't think I can really be persuasive with my mask on.
Well, you can help with intimidation,
That's like
right?
intimidating.
Like, yeah,
It's
take
like-
us seriously.
It's putting them all on guard.
Okay, I can do that. I can intimidate.
I like the desperation creeping into okay, come on, help. I need these dice.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You got any more of them? You got any more of them dice? All right. So what you got? Eight against 8. You need a success on every die, right?
Oh, Jesus.
I believe in you. You can do it. Fate of humanity.
Yeah.
So
Clearly
if
do
you
not believe.
if you succeed, she will tell you of her people's problems. If you fail, she'll stonewall you and be like, "No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to go back to talking about what you're going to give me."
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Good luck.
Oh.
Not quite. All right. Well, make a. You can mark either the test for will, difficult test for will, or you can mark a persuasion to open it and start working on it. Either one. That's why you have Bernard the Persuader to assist you on this. So so I think that there's a moment where she's like, should I tell you? And then she's like, no, we're not here to speak of weakness. You talked of a gamble. And gestures to Bernard. I want your librarian. What's the contest?
Shit.
Shit.
Perhaps we should speak on this another night, milady, and then just back slowly out of the tent. I mean, yeah, you haven't engaged the contest yet. If you want to be like, let me think about it.
We could request.
Yeah, I feel like we have to. I say something like, "You're right, and I will come forth with a proper contest. I understand your misgivings about my initial proposition. But please, perhaps you would house or at the very least allow us the night to convene on this matter."
She nods. Yeah, she says, in these matters, the disciplines are clear. Hospitality is extended to those who desire it for 3 nights. After that, you're on your own. And
That's
I think
very gracious.
Yeah, and I think she says to you, like she looks at you and she kind of shakes her head and she's like, you're lucky. If Rabadi weren't so enamored of this fire god, you'd be dead already. Would have killed you on sight, but she recognized you. If you have an ally here, it's her.
I'm like, well, I appreciate that, but I'm quite content with my allies, and I sort of like reach back towards Gretelin actually, and I like sort of nudge her up and like put my arm around her shoulder, like get her up close and personal with her mask on, obviously still, and I'm just but thank you, of course.
Yeah, I think she scowls and shakes her head and she's like, where I come from, we don't brag about laying down with dogs.
Like,
I like your, Andrew, I like your, what? Face, that was nice.
Well, it's just like, so I was like, damn, we should have been teaching this person cool shit. Way better than this Octavian guy.
yeah, I'm like, this is like a constant battle of like personal pride and like fear for my own sort of well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And those two forces, it has nothing to do with anyone else. It's just like my own personal preservation instincts conflicting with each other. So I just sort of like hold back a remark, and I'm like, "Good night, my lady."
Okay. All right. So do you leave then? You leave the tent at least? Okay.
Yeah, I back out with Gretelin, with my arm around her.
I'm gonna, I think I don't notice at first that he backs out, and then I go, oh, okay, all right.
Okay. So when you leave the tent, you notice a few things. You notice a tent being set up nearby, like a new tent being like erected. The woman that originally brought you here seems to be overseeing the like putting together this tent. She notices when you come out. And also there's a man and maybe a couple other men. Like he's probably like 19 or 20. And he's like scowling at you when you come out and like talking to his friends. And when he sees you, he like gives you, Octavian specifically, gives you like a kind of an evil eye when you come out. But generally the rest of the kind of village hasn't really like, they're not clamoring around trying to listen or paying a lot of attention to you. But those two, you notice immediately when you come out.
I continue walking as if and look like happy and content as if no one has challenged me in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So where do you go? What do you do? There's this like tent being put together ostensibly for your staying in.
I feel like, I don't know, I look to Saba and I'm like, do you know where we stay?
Oh, now you're full of questions.
Like, well, excuse me? Did I do something?
I like look back at the tent we just came out of. No. And then I look over at the tent that's being put up. Perhaps we should talk to our friend. Only friend we have here. And I walk over to her. I'm going to try talking to her.
Okay, sure.
While you're in that conversation, I very stealthily remove myself from beneath your arm and grab my cart that was parked outside the tent. Very concerned about the contents of it.
Are they fucking with my stuff?
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think there are some like men and women of the little tent village like looking at your cart and like peering under the tent flap areas and like they're definitely like poking around at it.
Like swat them away like they're mosquitoes growling under my mask.
Yeah, they flee when they see you coming with your mask, right? They just wanted to see what was inside the demon hut. The demon hut on wheels.
Like that's where I live.
Yeah, totally. Like you live in there and there's like, jars with babies in them and stuff that you have to eat. And like, yeah, they're totally like looking through it, looking for, or like daring each other to go look. Like,
Yeah, there's probably a lot of like the village kids hanging out, being like, "Yeah, no, you go in."
yeah, totally.
Are the village kids dwarf height since they're all so tall?
Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I walk up to what's the name of our the person that we ran into first?
You don't. Oh, yeah, she mentioned
Someone
it.
gave her
Her name is
name.
Rubati.
Rubati.
Yeah, her name is Rubati, and the woman you were talking to before, her name is Marta Twicegourd. You don't know who Habani is yet, but there's a Habani around.
So yeah, I go over to Rubati. And like, I'm just going to introduce myself.
Okay.
And my goal here is to make a good impression.
Sure. And you want to impress. So you don't. I mean, I guess this is where like language becomes a thing, right? So you speak Elven, right? You also speak the human language.
So yeah, I speak like a few different dialects of Elven probably because I've lived in like various areas of Elven society.
And you don't have like foreign languages, right?
I don't have foreign languages.
Okay. And you don't have any like song of languages magic?
No.
All right. Well, if you want to communicate with her, it's going to be an untrained foreign languages test then.
Well, so here's my thought.
Okay.
Which is that I'm not trying to, like, I'm going to communicate without words, basically.
Okay, sure.
I'm just going to go over and, like, bow and, like, perform various kind of, like, formalities. Specifically, I'm going to be using I was thinking I would use my, what is it? Where is it? all my skills are cut off because they have giant, long elven names.
That's what you
Dignity of the
get.
Wilderlands, which is an etiquette skill that you get when you're a wild elf. So I
Okay.
got that because I married a wild elf and like
Sure.
was her spouse.
What's what's that skill? Sorry, what is it called?
Dignity of the Wilderlands.
You can't have like normal named shit like everybody else. You gotta have
No, it's all
fancy.
fucking fancy. It's on page 267.
Okay.
And so like it's for like talking with elves and stuff, but
Yeah.
it feels to me like the society of the wilder elves and of these people, there are like lots of parallels.
I mean, I'd say it'd be forkable, sure.
Okay, cool.
You
So at least I'm
wouldn't-
forking it.
Yeah.
And it is a skill song too. That's funny. Okay. So basically, I guess I'll be using maybe persuade.
Sounds like persuasion. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just trying to like make a good impression of myself. And so maybe I go and like, because Dignity of the Wilderlands is like a song as well. So I like, there do various like bows and like symbolic kind of gestures. And then I'm also like singing a song and like give my name. And so there's this whole like ritual introduction that I do of myself to her.
Okay.
Which maybe she doesn't have to like understand all of it. But the kind of general gist of it is that I make a good impression is kind of my goal.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's have you make that persuasion roll.
Cool. So I'm gonna make persuade roll, forking Dignity of the Wilderlands. Can I fork sing as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. It's ob 3.
That's how many dice I'm rolling.
Okay. Good luck.
I fail,
Okay. All right.
but that's okay.
So when you come up, she eyes you kind of suspiciously, and when you start to sing, I think she scowls and like covers her ears so she doesn't hear you, and shakes her head and like makes like a warding sign, right? Where she's just like,
Okay.
I know how this shit works. You don't.
These people are
don't
backwards
sing
and
at me.
terrible. Great.
Yeah, so she like and she tells her her like the men who are like raising the tent, she's like, don't listen to them, if they speak, plug your ears. Yeah, they definitely don't trust you.
What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah. So while that interaction is happening, Bernard and Octavian and Gretelin, what are you? Gretelin, we know you're shooing people away from your cart. Octavian and Bernard, what are you two doing?
I mean, I'm staying glued to Octavian's side.
Okay.
I'm in full Lord serving mode.
Right, full obsequiousness mode.
I mean, it seems like it's in my best interest since I might get traded tomorrow.
Yeah, given away, really.
I think I'm just like, so do you know, did anyone tell you where we eat around here?
No.
Well, it's getting kind of late, right? Like it's about dinner time.
Of course, my lord. I will find some food somewhere.
Good.
All right. Now, where is the food?
And you wander off into the little
Yep.
tent village to find some food.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go looking through tents. I don't know if anybody's stopping me, but
Awesome.
I'm literally gonna go like look for a mess tent of some kind.
All right, that sounds good. I actually feel like this is probably a good place to stop for the day, because we're kind of like settling into the little like tent village for a little bit. Does anybody have anything they like urgently wanted to do before we?
Given that I'm going to take a grief hit, I would like to overnight sing my lament.
Right. Okay. So maybe that's the last thing that we have is like the humans are set up in a tent. You're given a tent to stay in, Octavian and Bernard. You could probably make your way in there, Gretelin, but they expected you to sleep in your weird wheeled house.
Oh, that's where I want to sleep.
Okay. All right.
and then I don't get anywhere.
And the elves, I don't know. I mean, they don't
They're like,
set up
oh, they
beds
sleep
for
in
you.
the trees.
Yeah, they
I don't
don't
know.
sleep, or they turn into starlight, or return to hell, whatever. Okay.
So I think my daughter and I set up like out front of the tent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then yeah, I'm like chilling outside the tent and singing this song into
Okay.
the night sky.
Okay. So let me find the rules for grief and lamenting. So, let's see. I think the realization that orcs are not dead as you had anticipated. Plus, you have on top of that, so you've got several tests to make, right? Fighting in a bloody battle, that happened. So it's an ob 5. I think realizing that the orcs are still like a thing, it's kind of a big deal. I would say it's like ob 6 probably. So there's an ob 5 and an ob 6. Anybody lie to you, go against any of your instincts. You didn't lie, nobody robbed you. Do you see anybody get killed? No. Yeah, okay, so I think we're looking at 2. An ob 5 and an ob 6. I don't think killing orcs counts for grief. Like once you realize they were orcs.
Yeah, they're not people.
No. Okay. All right. So when a grief test needs to be taken, you can sing a lament. The obstacle for the lament is the same as the grief test. Lower level the grief. Okay. All right. So you've got an ob 5 and an ob 6 lament to sing. If you want
Great.
to bleed off some of that.
I can't succeed at either, but that will mean that I automatically get my lament up a level.
Yes.
That's good. Allow me to fail some rolls here.
All right. Why break the tradition of a lot of failed rolls?
I succeed on my 1 die. Okay. I'm the best lamenter that ever was. 100% success rate on all my dice for laments.
Okay. Roll for your other one. There you go. Nice. Still.
Going
still. Strong. So what does this look like? What do we see? This is the closing scene of the show for this week's episode. What is your? We've never seen a lament before.
This one is also laments are also spell songs.
Mm-hmm.
One, and the Lament of the Stars was the first lament learned by the elves as they left their ancestral homeland and crossed the sea to their new home. The bards composed a song to ease the heart pain and homesickness. So I think that's that's the reason I kind of picked it for her, is that she is also like exiled then again from their new home to now have no home.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, she's like singing about the like gray lands that all elves will eventually return to.
Yeah.
And so it's like soul hauntingly sad, and it's just like, whereas the other song had like multiple voices in it, this one is really solitary and lonely.
Right, I like
Singing
that.
at night to the stars.
Totally.
I think there's this like faint echo of like the stars singing back or something.
Yeah. They give off kind of a shimmering sound.
And so like in the night of like darkness of the night, you just see like her like silver hair is glowing and kind of doing that weird floaty thing. Nice. And hearing the song. Yeah.
Awesome. And what's your grief at currently?
My grief, and I guess my daughter's grief would get triggered as well. Mine is at B2, and hers is actually higher than mine because she's a soldier. Yeah, hers is B3.
2 and 3. Okay. So these are challenging. You get 2, each of you mark 2 challenging tests for grief.
Okay. Yeah. So I only need 1 challenging test to advance. So does that mean
just cool. All right. So we get the sad song on the hillside. So let's hand out some fate and some persona so that next time when you have those 6s, you can re-roll them. So basically what we do is we'll go through your beliefs. If you have a belief that all right, so we get the sad song on the hillside. So let's hand out some fate and some persona so that next time when you have those 6s, you can re-roll them. So basically what we do is we'll go through your beliefs. If you have a belief that you pursued in character but didn't resolve, you'll get a fate for it, and we'll talk these through. If you resolved a belief, if you finished a thing, which I don't think you have, that's something that'll happen. And then we'll do instincts and traits. So for beliefs, does anybody have a fate or persona point that they think they could earn for those?
I have a couple,
Okay.
I think. So teach them and guard them fiercely, I think I was working on. So like Saba's first belief, I think I could earn fate for.
Okay.
And then I tried to not allow my companions to engage in any petty human bullshit.
I don't think
But
I don't think you stepped in hard enough there
I don't
to
think,
earn
yeah,
fate.
exactly. It wasn't like Mama Bear enough.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So yeah, take a fate for that. Gretelin, your any of your beliefs?
No.
Okay. Bernard, how about you?
I think I did start recording everything about our current history for posterity.
Yeah. Did you make a roll related to that or?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
though.
because that's
Yeah.
that's the tricky thing about beliefs or instincts. There's got to be a roll involved, otherwise it doesn't count. So okay, you it was on your mind but didn't get it. Okay, Octavian, you're
Definitely not my belief. It didn't come into play.
okay. Well, let's
Instincts, I don't think so either.
let's jump to instinct. So same thing. If you played an instinct and it got you in trouble, I definitely saw some of this. What was your instinct, Octavian? This was the
I always help those in need, as doing so is the surest path to praise and glory.
Mhm.
And then I'm fastidious and preoccupied with my hygiene and outward appearance. I was preoccupied with my appearance at one point.
but it was after the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, a
didn't
roll
get you.
didn't come into play.
Okay. Saba and Sia, any of your instincts?
And I only have the one figured out so far, and it's
Yeah, and it'll be slow going until those start to get filled
Yeah.
in. Gretelin, you definitely put your mask on in a situation where it would have not been, it would have been smarter to not do that.
I did indeed.
Yeah, so take your fate for that, for sure.
And then I did a lot of dancing, but I don't know if it actually hurt us.
Yeah, I don't think
Aside
it got,
from thinking that it was silly.
yeah, it didn't really get you in trouble or like cause complication for you.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and then Bernard, any instincts?
You know, I didn't actually say that I wrote in my journal when we rested, so I think
Yeah, so with that that happens automatically no matter what. That's the flip side of the instinct. If you write in it instead of doing something like sleeping, like if I'm like, yeah, you're really injured, you're like, no, I stay up and write in my journal,
Okay.
then it would impact your health roll. But no, that's the instinct that just like works for you in the background. It's not going to earn you points, but mechanically. Now, does anybody have a trait that they think playing complicated their characters' lives today?
I definitely played up Stern a lot and like stayed out of a
You
lot
stayed
of
out of
shit.
things you should have gotten involved in if you wanted them to succeed. Yeah, I give that for Stern. Jess, how about you? Gretelin, have any?
I think like tough and stoic definitely forced me to continue to fight. when
Oh
I
yeah,
was
stoic
in no
for
shape
sure.
to fight.
Yeah, stoic for sure. Yeah, definitely like that one. Bernard, any of your traits?
I think I played at my know-it-all trait.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In the mask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very solid. Yeah, take a fate for that for sure. Octavian, there was some fairly severe pompousness on your part.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how you want to spin this. Like some impulsive things, perhaps.
Oh, riding ahead, right, with your horse, being like,
Yeah.
nope, I'm just gonna go. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then-
Take a point for that for sure.
Okay.
Cool. All right, now you have some fate. So next time when you fail a roll, you can go hunting for sixes, and you can
Excellent.
use those to reroll.
God.
Between now and the next session, think about writing a belief about like the current situation, so you can earn some persona. So like, I will earn the trust of Marta Twicegourd, or I will teach. Like Bernard, you could make a belief that's like language is the lubricant of the great machine of civilization. I will teach, Rubati how to speak our tongue, right? Like, and that could be a thing you could pursue as like a side goal for your character.
Awesome.
So think about those between now and our next session. I'm going to go and put together the Q&A and in traditional fashion. If you'd like to tell us where we can get at you on the internet. Andrew, you can keep yours short if you want to, because I know you already gave the spiel today. But Jess, why don't we start with you and your magnificent braid beard, which has been Abraham Lincolning all night.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying this game. I'm having a fantastic time. I play D&D on Wednesday nights on twitch.tv/missclicks at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to tune into that, definitely follow that channel. There's a lot of good RPing going on there. And you can follow me on Twitter at Sildon. Thank you. Colin.
So I guess first thing about me is probably that I am, in the vaguest sense, a designer. One of those sort of millennial creative type people that you see everywhere. And you can really find out more in that regard from my Twitter, which is sort of the base of operations for me on the internet. And my Twitter is at SVNDER. So, yeah.
And me. I'm Suzanne. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm having a fantabulous time. I am a brand manager for Roll20. So keep an eye out for cool things coming from Roll20 in general, like Roll20Con, which is exciting. And I can also be found on Twitter at I am a Snarky Pants, and on Twitch for purely personal reasons as Serial Comma.
Wicked. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad to be back and playing. So thanks for coming and hanging out, playing games with me.
Adam, you said everybody, but I haven't gone yet.
Oh, well, fine, Andrew. I already heard you today, so go ahead.
I know. So my name is Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Commuting Crow. You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/actualfactual. Check me out there. And I always tweet when I'm streaming and stream when I'm tweeting and all that kind of fun stuff.
The old tweet and stream.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Andrew and I, we're starting a new show on Thursdays. We're going to be playing Ryutama, which is the game we described at the beginning of today. So if cute dragon stuff sounds as exciting to you as it does to Jess, then come on by. We're playing it at 11 o'clock Pacific on Thursdays, or you can catch it on YouTube at MSRoll20. Also, we've got the YouTubes coming up for our Mage sort of post show where we talk about our experiences with that game. So if you're curious about what we thought, you can check that out. Throw a subscribe over there, and you can follow me on Twitter at Skinny Ghost, Roll20 on Twitter, Roll20 app, and come back here. We'll be probably returning, I think, to our usual schedule on Fridays next week. So follow us on Twitter. Like Andrew said, we Twitch while we tweet and vice versa. But thanks for coming. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Later.